everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Discovery Pod with Eve. I am Eve Richards. We've got a very special episode today with someone who's actually calling in from London, Sophie Azam. She's the CEO of she's founder of I can't even talk. Serial founder. We'll delve into Sophie's background in a few minutes. So please make sure you watch this episode on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. I am joined today by my friend, Melissa Smith. She's an actress. She does it all. Melissa, welcome back. It feels like I haven't seen you in ages. But I know. You like 2 days ago.
Time has been just flying by, but yet really creeping by. So it's yes. I know we saw each other 2 days ago, but it doesn't seem
like ages ago. So I know you've got, even though this episode, we don't know when it's gonna air, but you are actually on your way to something fab because you look amazing. And I told you red is a beautiful color on you. So you gotta continue using red.
You know what's crazy is that the color is off. It's actually like a melon color. It's like, I think I should try and brighten it up a little bit.
It looks red on camera, but it looks really good. Like it pops. Yeah. So tell us some of the exciting things you've got. I know you can't disclose much, but whatever you want the audience to know that you're working on.
Yeah, so yes, there are some things I'm working on that unfortunately cannot be discussed at this time, but be on the lookout for that. And then we have The Dream coming out on the 26th of March, which is going to be fabulous. You saw the trailer for that.
Oh, I am so proud of you. Oh my goodness. Oh, she is fantastic. Oh my goodness, this girl has a great sense of humor. Like, people would love it. I loved it. I can't wait to see it. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's going to be premiering in Beverly Hills, right?
Yes, it's premiering in Beverly Hills on the 26th of March, so it's been a long time waiting. You've been with me on this journey the entire time, Eve, so this is going to be a fun one.
It's a fun one. Isn't it nice, though, that we get to celebrate something exciting, something fun?
Yes, finally. It's been a year in the making, or more than a year. I'm sorry, it's been more than a year in the making. So it's been, it's an exciting time to look forward to.
And you and I have a project, Echoes of Dreams. We were supposed to start filming in April, but you and I had a chat like 2 days ago, and I think we're both aligned in terms of the direction that we feel like we want in terms of how this project should be. I think it's a story that I'm passionate about, you're passionate about, and we want it to represent the vision we originally had.
Agreed. Because if, like we discussed, if it's going to be done, we're going to want it to be done right. We're going to want our visions to be coming through on screen as we wanted it to be.
No second chances.
No do-overs.
No do-overs. So we got to do it right. So,
yes.
I'm going to be gone. I'm leaving for Texas, and I know you've got Matt somewhere. He's
hiding behind the computer.
Somewhere, but hey, Matt, I know you guys are going to have a fabulous time whenever this episode airs, but you look amazing. I hope Matt has a great weekend, and I hope to see him sometime soon. So we've got an exciting show today. It's a good segue into introducing our guest. We have an extraordinary woman who has not only broken barriers, but continues to pave the way for future generations of entrepreneurs. Sophie Azam is a serial founder, shareholder, and award-winning CEO with an illustrious career spanning over 15 years in the fields of education, regulation, and compliance. As the group chief executive of she's a visionary behind Skills for Startups. She has achieved a lot of success from both her work with the U.S. government to international collaboration. So we cannot wait to hear all about what Sophie has going for her and the project she has that's going to be launching in the U.S. In the next coming months. Sophie, welcome to the Discovery Podcast.
Thank you so much. I think I had a round of applause before on a podcast, so that's a good start. That's great. Thank you. And you look very glamorous, by the way. It's nice and pink.
I think it's the logo that we both have.
Yes, it's the logo. It's the,
I just feel a little bit bland against you.
No,
But
no,
that's
no. It's 10 o'clock at night. And thank you. This was such a quick turn. Thank you so much for being flexible. So your journey has been nothing short of impressive. What was the pivotal moment in your career that made you realize your calling was in empowering entrepreneurs?
essentially when I began my journey, it was pure education, and we were championing young people's education essentially in the United Kingdom. And I started my journey in the civil service, working for one of the biggest exams regulator called Ofqual. And I found that I lacked passion for bureaucracy and strict protocols around education. And I think a lot of kids today want to learn differently. And they want to open up their horizons to different challenges, and they want to express themselves in a creative way. And some of these careers that young people want, they want to be influencers, they want to be Gen Z entrepreneurs. That they might want to open up a beauty parlor, or hairdressers, or barbers, bakers, or cupcake shops. These sorts of creative individuals, they don't necessarily fit well with academia. So when I left the government, that was my calling. My calling was to look at soft skills and to look at skills that that you need in life to reach your goals. And one of the key things that came out is that we do need to support more female entrepreneurs, and that was quite a huge issue in the UK, where there's been a lack of funding for female entrepreneurs to expand into the business world, especially with the lack of funding for women. So my journey from the civil service into several institutes that actually look at the business world in the UK really programmed my ethos and my values into what I wanted to do next as an entrepreneur. I think the entrepreneurship came out of desperation to make changes for women and diverse entrepreneurs. And those are the young, Black, Asian in this country. They have faced huge barriers, especially when it comes to support or having an ecosystem that allows you to flourish and pick up those skills needed to be successful business leaders. We wanted Skills for Startups to be that beacon for female leaders and the next generation of entrepreneurs. The world is changing, and the way we do business is changing. We have more online shops now through TikTok, Spotify. So it's becoming less formal and more revolutionary and pioneering. And it's that creativity that Skills for Startups is doing a deep dive into some of these startups to help them with progression and growth for their economies.
Okay. That's amazing. So what motivated you to create Skills for Startups, and then, how has it evolved since you started it, since its inception?
Yes, so that's a very good question, Melissa. What motivated me to start it was my lack of funding myself as a founder. So the barriers I faced, I didn't want others to face in the next few years, where things are looking a little bit turbulent. So we started under COVID-19. So the situation under COVID-19 was pretty dire. In 83% of startups failed in the UK under COVID-19. Businesses stopped, and that had a huge impact on people's livelihoods, and everyday income that comes through had stopped. So I think what motivated me is to start to look at artificial intelligence and digitalization ahead of time for startups. So that actually could mitigate. If there's another COVID-19, we can continue creating our ideas, selling our ideas through a different platform and different channel. And I think that's what's motivated me to look at Skills for Startups as almost a beacon of an ecosystem that's looking at a variety of startups to help them to resist any form of risks now moving forward. And that's what we do through our programs. We now educate startups on what could go wrong if industry stopped, or there's a change in government, or a sector is not doing as well as it should do, what's the impact on your livelihood, on your everyday revenue, everyday sales? So we actually, within Skills for Startups, have a much more thorough understanding of the pressure points for startups. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, whether you're funded or not funded. The pressure points are quite consistent across startups. People struggle to write their own business plans. People struggle to communicate effectively, or they shy away from selling their products confidently. And a lot of the times in the UK, we feel a little bit embarrassed to talk about money, or talk about the fact that we want to have financial freedom. That's one example. And we teach that in Skills for Startups. We teach startup founders the confidence to say, well, if you want to become multimillionaires, this is what you need to do. This is how resilient you have to be. This is where you have to have grit when there's rejection, because there's ultimate rejection when you're dealing with clients and dealing with customers. And that can actually put off founders and entrepreneurs, especially if they're young entrepreneurs. And sometimes that could be the impact that we see when startups give up, or startup founders give up. So what Skills for Startups is doing is almost creating that ecosystem through desperation, that look, this ecosystem within Skills for Startups is for all startups, and it's for all startups that are just starting out, perhaps, who don't have support or mentoring or coaching. And that's what we tend to provide through the actual platform. And we hit about 6 festivals and roadshows, and we're planning a further 6 in the United States of America, with the first coming to Los Angeles to support startups that have been hit by California's wildfire. So we are going to be giving back some of our sales back to the community with across California. So that's taking place June 14th on a Saturday, and we're putting on our very first roadshow that we've been doing in the UK, in central London and other parts of the United Kingdom, and we're looking at the north as well. And now all of these startups are desperate for a beacon like Skills for Startups, because not only are we affordable, but we bring in highly powered tech leaders and business leaders, and these are people from all sorts of industries. So we've got somebody called Larry Namer. I think you know Larry Namer. So he's going to do a fireside chat for us. We've got Matt Willis. I think you might know Matt Willis. He's top 50 LinkedIn thought leader currently, and he's doing some great work at the moment in the tech and AI industry. And we've got somebody called Tytex Twine, who is actually a fantastic entrepreneur in the sport and media industry, who's also doing a fireside chat. So we look at these role models that perhaps haven't done an MBA, so it's not a traditional road for them, but they've become very successful in their own businesses. And what we do is we inspire and empower the audience. So this entire roadshow is about empowering around 360 to 400 companies to get them to actually look at how best to be successful business leaders. And in the afternoon, Skills for Startups presents around 12 masterclasses, which looks at key pressure points. And it could be things like setting up a shop on Spotify, looking at sales growth, looking at AI, how AI can support your startup and automate your startup so that you don't have to spend a lot of money on staff, and you can actually focus on automating the key areas in your business so you can be successful business leaders. So where you save money, you can actually start to then make money in other areas, and that can actually make you much more of a sustainable business leader financially. So we look at all of these great skills in the afternoon, whilst the morning is all about these great leaders that have actually become great role models for us to look up to.
That's amazing. I think congratulations on all your achievements and the launch. I mean, it's definitely not easy. So you talked about all the various businesses so how are you getting those businesses involved? Like, I know you're working with quite a few, and there's a huge media blitz. Congratulations. I think you're going to be the billboard somewhere in New York, Times Square.
Yes, we are. We are going to be on the billboard, and we are going to be on FinTech TV as well.
And you're doing Magazine and all of those different interviews.
Yeah. So essentially what we did was, in order for us to understand the US startups market and their pressure points consistently with the UK, we capitalized on a very, very high profile press expert, and that's Jules Lavelli. She headhunted me because she wanted to tell my story to the US audience and
What's this?
worldwide.
You hear the name?
Jules Lavelli.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So she started the Empowered Entrepreneur magazine, and that featured literally my journey from government education to now a self-made entrepreneur. So no one taught me the skills. I had to teach those skills under COVID-19 to be a successful entrepreneur. I couldn't, I'm not, although I've got degrees, I'm actually dyslexic. So I don't learn through standardized routes. So I had to pick up my entrepreneurial spirit, or develop my entrepreneurial spirit, through reading books like Bill Gates' book biography, Steve Jobs. How did they become multimillionaires? What were the key theories or methodologies that they used to have successful businesses? That's what taught me to build skills for startups, and that's what's teaching me to teach other startups. So yes, we are coming to America, and we are hoping to do a lot of work in the United States of America for the foreseeable future. So we're not just looking at Los Angeles and New York. We are looking at other areas of America where there are initiatives going on, where we can get young people involved in entrepreneurship. We can get people who are retired back into the business world, get them to become founders again, or if they've never run a business in their life, we want to teach those skills through our Skills for Startups Founders program, and get as much of that entrepreneurial spirit going across the USA as we're doing in the UK. And also, one of the key things we're looking at is creating 100,000 financially viable startups by 2034, and reducing the rate of any failures, because there is 98% failure rate for startups in the USA and 90% in the UK. So therefore, they run out of money at some point. And we want to mitigate that by making them more smarter, a smarter business model, smarter business leaders. So our focus is always on the founders, and how can we nurture those founders, get them to have the right characters, the right grit and the confidence to deliver their business model and their objectives.
That's amazing. So what role does entrepreneurship have in your life, and how do you ensure the next generation of entrepreneurs have access to that?
I think the role it plays in my life, I'm quite a shy person, and I know it's probably hard to see that because I'm talking to you. But if there is a big audience, I suffer from very severe anxiety. I have a very high IQ. I'm quite intelligent. I'm quite geeky when it comes to producing ideas and in educational products. But I'm very, very shy in talking about it sometimes, or showcasing it to larger audiences. And what entrepreneurship has showed me is that, because I know my business inside out as a woman, as a human being, it's given me the confidence to now open up and speak more and go into public speaking. Yeah, so entrepreneurship has made me a better public speaker. And the reason being is because I'm talking about something I gave birth to, I delivered. So if you put me in a situation to talk about anything else, my anxiety will take over. But when I talk about skills for startups or any of my other companies that I'm developing, I can talk to you all day. I can write a PhD thesis. I could just deliver it and execute it. So it's really powerful that how something that you develop and you give birth to could change your skill set. And I think that's what the next generation of human beings, or whoever goes into business or in any particular career, if you have entrepreneurial skills at that basic level, at that foundation level, God knows where you could go. You can go anywhere with your life. You can be an innovative lawyer or an innovative doctor. You can find the cure to cancer. It's entrepreneurialism is so powerful, because you don't necessarily always have to start a business. You can utilize that to do anything you want to do in life. You might want to be an author or a poet, internet influencer. Entrepreneurialism, that those basic skills that you get taught at that sort of building block level, it can take you anywhere. And I think that's what we're trying to teach the next generation, is to be proud of your pursuits, is to really focus in on soft skills, because Soft skills is what's lacking in the 21st century, globally. We always pay a lot of attention to our technical skills, but soft skills and how we are, the compassion we have, the passion we have, for our businesses, for what we're trying to resolve through our products. That's very important as well. And that can teach the next generation to be much kinder on themselves and on the environment. So that's what we're hoping to do, that business can be a force for good and we can change the world and be a community of great people. And you're seeing that right now in California, in the midst of the wildfires, how people are coming together and sharing their homes to people who have lost their homes. That's what we need to be educating the next generation, that it's okay to think outwardly rather than inwardly. How can we as a community of businesses support one another?
That's incredible. I think just listening to you talk about how when you're speaking about your businesses and you become so passionate and you suffer from like dyslexia. So for anyone out there who wants to start something, it's never easy, right?
No.
Obviously, lots of challenges and, people would go through huddles. How did you get started? Did you have any mentors to guide you?
In my instance, my mentor was somebody who passed away, my mom. So my mom always said to me, do something that you love. And we knew our mother was going to die. We had a 6-month, wait. So we were given that verdict from our consultants. She died of heart failure. And in those 6 months, I had a heart to heart with my mum, and she said to me, "Why don't you start your business? Why don't you become, you're going to live an independent life. You need to be self-sustainable financially. You're not happy with working in government. It's not fulfilling. It's not fulfilling you. You're not making a difference in the education system. Why not start an educational company where you can actually, go on the front lines, speak to people and find out where the gaps are, and create an idea that's really going to make a difference across the world." And that's why I did what I did. My mother was the catalyst, and she still is in some respects in spirit. I think I've only come this far because I did have rejections, Eve. So, we did pitch for funding under COVID-19. It was very difficult to do that. We were looking at private investors to scale up this company. We wanted to be the #1 soft skills company for businesses and startups globally very quickly, because my vision was quite big. My mum always said, "Go for it, don't, if you got an idea, you've got to go for it. If you find the resources, be clever, be smart." So there were rejections after rejections after rejections, but eventually we've now brought in a group of great people from the USA and the UK that are really taking skills for startups to heart. They've really fallen in love with skills for startups, and they want to support it. And by proxy, they're supporting hundreds of startups who are facing rejection, just like I did under COVID-19. And we're so committed. We're living, breathing, eating, drinking skills for startups that it's having a knock-on effect. We've got these young entrepreneurs coming through with great ideas. Somebody wrote a book at the age of 4. A young kid that's his business, and he's only 9 years old, and he's selling these books. So we are having a huge impact on the next generation. I think that boils down to the fact that we've stuck to our values, and that values was that we were always going to be integral to the spirit of entrepreneurship. Yes, we want to be financially sustainable, but we also want people to resolve issues. If there are issues out there, let's build businesses that can help communities. So that ethos is still there. It's such a clever model. We're very commercial, but we've got that social impact ethos. And I think that for me is so important moving forward.
And then what age were you at when you realized this is something that you wanted to do with your life, that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and be your own boss and not,
Yeah.
because we all have that thought, I think, once in our life, but what really made you decide that's what you wanted to do?
I think for me it was, I had a really tough upbringing. I'm not going to shy away from it because I think it's very important that women talk about this. But, I grew up in an environment where there was domestic violence. And there was domestic violence against my mother and myself and my brother as well, by my father. And I think I don't want to be in a situation, and I didn't pursue marriage as a traditional, South Asian woman. I didn't go down that road. I've taken the road of being independent, an independent businesswoman. And I think that was a trigger point for me, is that I don't want any influence that is aggressive. And sometimes you find that in employment, don't you? You have those sort of aggressive tensions and microaggressions within the workplace. And sometimes when that triggered, when I was an employee, I thought to myself, well, actually, that goes back to how I was brought up. That sometimes maybe I'm not suitable to be following. I have to be a leader because of the impact. I don't want to be in a position where there is an aggressor because of my childhood and what I went through. So that was the trigger for me to, well, I want to be independent. I want to be my own boss. I want to make my own money, because if I don't have my own money, then there will be that negative influence. What if I fell in love with a man that was my dad? Does that make sense? So for me, I had to really resist that. It was very hard for me not to go down that pathway and not listen to that whole sort of tradition and custom you have around South Asian families, certainly in the UK, is, it's school, college, degrees, get your first job and be prepared to get married. I didn't do that. I defied all of that because of my experiences as a child. And now I am the way I am, and why I'm so passionate and almost possessive of this company is because I think it defines me. I think Skills for Startups, to a degree, is me. And it has the values that I've instilled in myself. I don't want others to go through what I've gone through. A lot of people who become entrepreneurs through trauma. So something has gone on in their life for them to then be a fighter and want to build a business against all odds. And sometimes it's also about being an athlete. When you're a startup founder who's similar as an athlete, you have resistance, you have barriers. And that was mine as a childhood. I had to go through that. I had to run that marathon to get to the point I've got to today. And I can't go back now. I can only go forward as an independent boss, as my own boss. You just can't go back to that anymore. This is your life now. And I think that I'm so proud that I can say to any other woman out there who's gone through perhaps what I've gone through as a child, which does have traumatic impact on how you think about certain matters as you go through life. I'm proud to say to other women that I've gotten through that. I'm very happy and I'm very confident in my abilities. And I'm entering America 12 months into my business model. No other startup has ended up scaling up within 12 months. And we've done that because we've had the right people from the United States of America take a risk on me and take a risk on Skills for Startups. And I'm so proud of my partnership and my commitment to the USA, and bringing my journey and bringing my experiences to you, and the experiences I'm bringing bringing the UK companies over as well. We're having a surge of companies come over to see you all in Los Angeles, and hopefully it will be a partnership and a memorable day for us, because I think we all have something in common and we all want to make a difference, and that's what business is about. It's to really lift each other up, and that's what's coming out in the last few weeks. I've learned about, even though I am independent, I can let go some of the barriers when good people are around me and loving people are around me. And I think that's made the difference.
Wow, that is so powerful. And thank you for sharing your journey. I think it's one of those things that not too many people get to talk about. Like, when you see someone, you don't know the trauma that a person experienced in their lives. And because of all of that, you just made a decision that marriage was not for you, but you used that and applied it to your business.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to you coming to LA, because I'm going to be there, and I'll bring Melissa to support you, because your journey is so, I think so many people are going to be inspired by your story. I am inspired by the journey, just listening to you, all the pain. So what do you want our audiences to know about your, coming to the US? Is this open to the public, or is it a very select group of people, especially here in LA?
We want anybody who has a passion or an idea or any form of dream to come to our event. and it's the future of tech, but we have different startups coming. We have fashion, beauty, all sorts of startups coming. They're going to be selling their products. So they're going to be doing showcases.
Oh,
There's
wow.
going to be massive exhibitions. We're going to have 3 panels, and we're doing our first Women in Tech Powerhouse panel. Powerhouse women are going to be on that panel, and we're going to be talking about how to get women more into technology, artificial intelligence. It's going to be phenomenal. And then we'll have about 8 or between 8 to 10 masterclasses, and you can select which masterclasses you want to come to. It's all encompassing in one ticket, and we are hoping to advertise our sales tickets from February, and we are 5% of those proceeds are going to go out to those startups or businesses that have been affected by the California wildfires. In addition to that, we want to give $10,000 to a winning pitch, so you can come and pitch your idea or pitch your business, and we're going to have almost like a Shark Tank panel that will be there to judge you, and we're hoping that people can get really involved because it is fun sharing your business idea with experienced people. And the most important thing is that we've got these great influential leaders that are giving back.
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
coming. Yeah, they're giving
Like you
back.
have to come. We have to. I mean, like you've got Larry Namer, who is this
Yeah,
founder of E-Network. You've
yeah,
got really influential people, if
yeah,
anything, for even 2 hours, Melissa.
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely there to support anything that has to do with this project because I think it's really important to share things like this with others and, to let also women know that, they don't have to work under somebody. They can be their own boss,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
make a career for themselves and
Yeah.
be, somebody important to themselves and not to somebody
Yeah.
else.
And we are encouraging partnerships and commercialization because we have a network session, I think, in the afternoon over cocktails. So
Oh,
that's a nice, relaxed environment for women, men, everybody to come together over a cocktail and just really talk about your aspirations and if any support you need. It's a very relaxing environment. People will exchange business cards. People will share their expertise, their wisdoms, and that's what we want. We want that sort of relaxed environment where people can just be themselves. We have a delicious lunch, which is being catered by an Italian startup, and I think they started in Hollywood.
Mhm.
And we've selected startups to cater for us because that's what we stand for. So new businesses are going to be showcased on the day, and hopefully they'll get more partnership deals as well.
And then what can even I do to help support and to bring attention to this event?
Melissa, if you can really raise this agenda, it's Skills for Startups. What is our inaugural Skills for Startups Tech Festival in Los Angeles, coming June 14, 2025. It's all about the future of tech, but future of business as well. All businesses are welcome. We would love it if you could give us some support and backing within your communities, and really talk about how this really Cinderella company, underdog company, is flying over to Los Angeles to share her wisdom about how to overcome barriers because life is hard for a lot of people
Mhm.
everywhere. It's not just about, people say, you know, it's not that bad. Well, sometimes you can't judge. If you look at the California wildfires, it's impacted. It's real life. It's
Yeah.
real life experiences. If we can instill through our event, our roadshow, some confidence back into the business community, then this is the event you want to be at because it's positive, it's celebratory, and hopefully it will get you back on track if you have been impacted by the wildfires. So we're here to really generate a lot of financial support for you all through donations, but also a happy day for people to pick up more business, perhaps, or speak to one of our high-profile speakers like Larry Namer will be around talking to people. We're inviting students from UCLA, so we're going to be writing to UCLA as well. And we're also going to be looking at some schools to come over in a particular segment because we've got 2 young entrepreneurs that have started their own businesses and they're going to be putting on showcases. They're only about 12 years old. And we're going to see, we're going to give them we're going to speak to some of the schools around Los Angeles, see whether they want to come along, and we'll give them some snacks, feed them, make sure they have a few good, nice hours with some really famous people and yourself, lovely ladies. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
It's such a Cinderella story, and
It is.
I think you just gave me goosebumps because I mean, it's one of those things that you never know what a person has gone through,
I
but
know.
yet you took all your pain and you
Yeah,
turned that into something
Positive.
positive.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like, wow,
yeah,
like, and the fact that and this for you is like your baby, as you said, like this
yeah,
is your
yeah,
life.
yeah,
And to see your dream come true by coming to the US and having all of this, where you're going to be in People magazine and in New York, this huge platform.
yeah,
I mean, I think it's commendable. Congratulations.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Eve. And this is what it's about. It's about women supporting other women. And I want to support your podcast as well. So I really can't wait to share this with the UK community to say, look, listen to Eve's podcast, because it is really about supporting one another. If we women don't support one another, there's no hope. And I think maybe more Cinderellas could come to Hollywood with their dreams. Um,
I like
We wouldn't know anything about that.
Thank you so much.
But definitely send us information if you can, so we can share it on our social medias and be able to spread the word more
Thank
about
you.
this
Yeah,
event. Because I mean, time's flying. Before we know it, it's going to be June. So
yeah,
yes.
sure that
yeah.
we can reach enough people
And
to.
Fantastic.
I also think the one thing that I think you talked about, which a lot of people do not talk about because of the stigma, you
Yeah,
really delved into what happened with your father.
Mhm.
It's
yeah,
something that I think when people listen to this podcast, I think
yeah,
it's going to resonate. A lot
yeah,
of people are going to find this empowering, the
yeah,
resiliency, your openness,
yeah,
willingness to share your journey
yeah,
and the choices that you made to,
yeah,
have a much better life. I think
yeah,
And
it's
I
a
think
yeah,
more people will be able to relate to you than you think. You know.
yeah. I hope so, because I think maybe it's really hard. It's still taboo to talk about domestic violence as a crime. Does that make sense? It,
Yes.
it is a crime, and I often feel that mom didn't die of heart failure. She died of domestic violence that led to heart failure. So it's almost like death by domestic violence, and I think that should be the new. We should define it as that, as the law. You can die by domestic violence, because unless we really tackle this, it's just really going to be always an embarrassing element to somebody's human condition. Oh, we can't talk about it. It's embarrassing
Mhm.
being hurt every day by somebody who supposedly loves you. Why should we be embarrassed about it? Why should women have to? I mean, I know there's domestic violence against men as well, but predominantly it's against women.
Mhm.
And women are very vulnerable in marriages sometimes, especially if they don't have any finances to escape that situation or that condition. And sometimes it can lead to murder. There have been cases all over the world where it's led to, full blown murder because somebody left a marriage. Um, it's awful that we can't talk about it. And I think if I can be that role model through my business, I will talk about it because it's had an impact on my life and my confidence. It's taken me years to get over my mother's death, and it's taken me years to get my trust back in men as well. Um, there is sometimes a lack of trust. When somebody becomes a bit aggressive, I walk away. So there is that you know unconditional mechanism that kind of protects me, and I have to walk away because it reminds me of the aggression as a child, the shouting and the screaming. It's innate in my head. You
You
don't
have
ever get away with it.
It's PTSD. You have that post-traumatic
Yeah,
stress, because you endured that as a child.
yeah,
It's funny, Eve. Remember, I mean, it seems like a lot of the women that we have been talking to on the podcast have so many things that, issues that aren't talked about.
yeah,
I just thought about the one we had in December with
Tanya.
yeah. Remember Tanya's
Yeah.
story, which suffered from the postpartum. These
Yes.
are things that are, I think a lot of women can benefit from stories like,
yeah,
Sophie's
Yeah.
because it's a good learning for every. Did you seek therapy or people would want to know because
Yeah.
how did you?
Yeah, how do you
I
cope with
think,
it today?
how did I cope? I think there was a point in my life where there were 6 months of grief, solid grief, and there was a point in my life where I thought I was going to, well, I did do something to end my life, but it didn't work. And then when I told my friend, she threatened to institute, well, ring the police and yeah. And that was it. That was like, I do not want to end up in hospital for the rest of my life because I'm harming myself. And I think that was the turning point. It was that severe, that threat stopped. And that's why I'm here today.
Well, I'm glad you're still here.
Yeah, because of my friend.
That's
Oh,
great.
that
Yeah,
is. I mean, I just have chills in my body from the story. It's just listening to it, I feel like a much better person because it's like, Melissa, you and I sit and we complain about stuff, but when you listen to something like this, it's like, wow, it's
Yeah,
such a
totally.
powerful,
yeah,
I mean, what do you call it? Just powerful story for women to
Yep.
listen to
yeah,
help anybody who's experiencing any type of trauma, not just women. I think
yeah,
it's a story that both men can benefit from. What I liked about it is how you were able to take that and you're able to shift
yeah,
and pivot
yeah,
and look at your life. That to me is such a great success
yeah,
story.
And
yeah,
not saying that it's, it's a good thing that all these things happened as a child, but since these things happened as a child, this is what helped you develop what you are and have today.
yeah. And I think that's why I want to share that with everyone and you lovely ladies, is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just have that, you have to have that true north. You
Hmm.
have to have somebody that's going to perhaps stop you or just give you that perspective or ask you to take a step back. Is this the right action for you? And I think that's what helped me with my friend. But one of the positive things that have also happened just naturally is that one of our platinum sponsors happens to be a marriage coach business. So it sort of coincides with obviously how, when you have turbulence in marriages, that could sometimes be, just simple, problems to maybe, severe problems. And we happen to have now somebody doing a keynote speech on their business around healthy marriages and how to work at it and everything. And hopefully that is another way of perhaps stopping domestic violence or preventing any form of these marriage counselors can actually save lives, and also even advise when you should call it maybe quits, and maybe a healthier option is to not to be with one another. But these sorts of businesses, I think, could really help people who are going through that level of trauma. There was no help for my mum. I guess that's what I'm saying. There was no marriage counselling for my mum and dad.
Hmm.
That was taboo. You don't speak about your internal issues to a therapist.
Oh, okay.
So that, for me, we do need perhaps more businesses or coaches to be specialising domestic violence in marriages or even outside marriages. Um, I think that specialization is very important, and also, medical advice as well. There's a lot of psychological torture.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
Yeah,
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 with everything that you've achieved and with just the success of your business coming to the States, are you in a better place in your life where you feel like there you could open, there's room for you to start dating, or you're still very guarded where you're not in any position to even.
I think a lot of people have said to me, Eve, get out there, find somebody. But it's really difficult because I'm looking for somebody that's kind, and sometimes men are not always kind. I feel like it's not just about falling in love, but can we find people that are genuinely, from on a human level, kind? because we teach kindness at Skills for Startups in business, because the kinder you are, the more people are going to be attracted to your products, your services, because you're a good founder, you're a lovely founder, you're a compassionate founder. But in life, it's very hard to find somebody that is willing to be kind. Wow. And I think that for me, I have to find somebody that's kind, Eve. But you can always set me up, I guess, when I come out to LA.
There you go. I was just about to say, when you come to LA.
So Tony just sent a note that we're down to the last 3 minutes. So the last question is, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Dr. Martin Luther King, because he changed my life as a child. In fact, his philosophy and his teachings, and the way he held himself in a very peaceful way, really gave me therapy growing up, I think. And there was a lot of hardship there, and there's a huge history there in America that really taught me, about equity, diversity, inclusion, and equality in general. And I think he'd be one person I would love to meet. Steve Jobs, because he's a great marketeer, and the way he launches his products, oh my God, you cannot beat his charisma. I would love to have dinner with him. I wish he was still alive, because I do feel like 60-70% of my mindset is similar to Steve Jobs. And perhaps Kofi Annan, because I think he was such a great UN Secretary General, and he always displayed kindness in very tough environments. So you can learn a lot from Kofi Annan.
Yeah. Wow, wonderful, Sophie. Thank you so much for being here with us. Your commitment to empowering entrepreneurs, especially women, and your vision for the future of education and startups are truly inspiring. So thank you for sharing your story. Melissa, what last words do you have to say?
This was a very inspiring and very informational podcast. I think that it helped bring a lot of light to a lot of things that women don't want to talk about, and it gives them hope for themselves.
So this might actually be our last episode of the season. You and I are supposed to do one next week, but in case that doesn't happen, the Sophie's, our conversation with Sophie might be the last one. So if it is, well, thank you, listeners. Thank you, everyone. Please watch the inspirational episode with Sophie Azam on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Sophie, is there a website where people can go in and check to see about the?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So our official website is www.skillsforstartups.com. And
number 4, correct?
4 as in 4. Yeah, number 4. Skills for Startups, Gen Z. Skillsforstartups.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony Sweet, being behind the cameras. I hear the music going. Roger is not on, but thank you, Roger. Melissa, enjoy. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm gone. I'm traveling, but we'll text one another.
I see you.
Look forward to seeing you when I come back in Feb. My birthday. It's my birthday month. So
celebrate.
awesome. Say hi to Matt. Have a wonderful party. Sophie, we can't wait to support you. We can't wait to see you. Melissa and I would be there to support you.
Thank you.
I'm so inspired by your journey of resilience. I mean, what else is there to say?
I can't wait.
It's empowering. It's great. We don't know when it's going to air, but maybe in April, which would be better for you because you're in June, right? So it's late in the UK. Tony's music is going like, okay, wrap up. So thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye, Sophie. We'll see you in June. Bye, Melissa.
Bye.
Bye to Matt, who's there somewhere. Bye. Bye, Tony Sweet.